Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. Today I have a special guest, Jason Vincent, who's an amateur and professional boxing referee out of Nevada. And first of all, I want to offer my condolences to Queen Elizabeth. I know we all loved her very much, and she'd be dearly missed. And King Charles be taking her place, her son. And we'll, again, condolences to Queen Elizabeth. Welcome, Jason Vincent, to the show.
All right, thanks for having me back, man. It's always a pleasure. Always grateful to come on the show with you, Joe, and get some of your knowledge, man. Get some of your wisdom, man.
Yeah, we want all our fans out there also to watch the show as often as you can. Subscribe and hit like and put out on your comments. Give us a little comment what you think about the show so we can keep it going, get better. Any opinions that you may have, we'll go for it, okay? Anyway, Jason, I want to tell you that, first of all, it's an honor to have you here because I know boxing is very special to all of us, especially to me and to you, because we were involved with the amateur fighters, and that's what you're doing a lot with. Recently, you got licensed in some states to become a professional referee as well. Yeah. Congratulations with
Appreciate it.
That's the next step. And then a step after that, hopefully, it'll be here in Nevada soon.
Yeah. You know, obviously, I'm born and raised there, Jason Vegas Vincent. So this is definitely my home, and this is definitely where I'd love to be and transfer over here with my pro career. But yeah, I got my license in the state of Colorado, which has a special meaning for me. All my family, on my dad's side of the family, are from Denver, Colorado. My brother still lives out there in Aurora, Colorado. My grandparents went to the University of Denver and Colorado University. And then I also got my license in Minnesota. And then currently I'm playing hooky right now, but down the street at the Paris Hotel, I'm at my first professional boxing convention, the NABF. So yeah, Jack Reese was just up there talking and giving a seminar and learning from him, and man, got to pinch myself, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's good. It's good. That's where you learn a lot from. You know, we go to these convention seminars, listen to some of these veteran referees when they talk about the game. So you can pick up a little bit from each one of the referees. That's what I used to do when I started out. I used to watch Arthur McCanty, Tony Perez, several referees, Zach Clay. I used to watch these guys and see how their ring mechanics and their verbal commands and all the signs, headbutt, low blows, everything, holding, all the signs. I picked up a little bit of that, then I put it together. I put the ingredients in with mine and with my style, and then you got Joe Cortez.
Well, that's what I like about it. Like you said, I kind of do the same thing. And speaking of Arthur McCanty, I think they just showed his son on one of the video clips I just saw, Arthur McCanty Jr. on one of the video clips of refereeing. But no, I try to pull from everybody, whether it's amateurs or professional, and see what they do, what I can add to my game. I put it in my toolbox. And, and I just grow from there and have my own style on it. So right now I'm in the process of, I will always be an amateur official. I love amateur boxing. I love the kids. I love the family. I love the community. So I always promote it and always come back to the amateur community. And I'll still travel across the country and do amateur events because I love amateur boxing. But I'm in the transition phase now from going, and maybe you can share a little light on this if you can dig back in your memory brain, going from the amateurs and into the pros, kind of that grace period or that transition period, and what would you recommend?
Well, let me tell you that when I started doing the amateurs, I did it for 6 months. I wanted a few referees that did it only for 6 months, but the New York Commission wanted me to turn pro at that time. I recommend you do 3 to 5 years in the amateurs before you even think of going pro. Correct. But then once you go pro, one thing that I used to do was I try to stay away from the amateurs doing the amateur fight because the rules in the amateurs are a lot different than they are in the professionals. You know, they have standing 8 counts in the amateurs, which we don't have in the pros. Correct. At one time, certain states used to use the standing 8 count in the professionals, but they don't do that any longer. And so sometimes if you get in there, you're doing amateur and professional, you may get caught up in the middle and make an amateur call on a professional fight. So that may hurt you with your performance that night. So some states would rather that you don't do an amateur fight, just stick with one or the other, you know?
I've talked to a few pros that you mentioned, and they've actually, in that transition that we're talking about that I'm going through, like you said, actually forgot they were in a pro match or whatever, or just their instincts kicked in because they did 3 or 4 or 10 years in the amateurs, and they started doing 8 counts in a pro pro event. Yeah,
and you can't do it in the pros. So, but you pick up little by little. It's a matter of just kind of getting yourself in that transition out of the amateur. It takes a little while, but you eventually get out of it. once you start just doing the pros, then it's just the pros. But you got to see what happens is that a lot of referees are not getting enough work out there.
That's my next
so
question.
they want to stay active doing the amateurs. That's why you have too many referees in one state. You know, there's not enough work. Maybe they have 2 or 3 shows a year. How many referees are you going to use? You see, so if you're lucky, if you work 1 show, 2 shows a year, where like here in Nevada, New Jersey, places like that, they have a handful of referees. So every referee really gets to work a lot.
They're getting consistent work. I was just talking to one of the referees that actually came out and did one of our amateur shows a few years ago at the Red Rock Casino, the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. Lonnie, he's from Ohio, and he said the same thing. He's like, Jason, I'm still have to do amateur work, which he doesn't mind. He loves it, to get my live reps in, because I'm only getting, maybe 3 or 4 pro shows a year, and it's just, he goes, I don't want to be rusty, and I want to stay current and fluid and all that.
Yeah, but one of the things that I tell referees also is stay active in your local jurisdiction.
Practice.
Try to go to your local gyms where they're doing some sparring sessions, professionals are sparring. See if you can go in and work with them and carry yourself like you do a regular professional show.
Correct.
This way you keep yourself active. Whether you work a few times a year or whether you work a lot, especially you got a fight coming up, let's say next week you got a show coming up next week, you should be in the gym working out with these fighters, moving around. Don't fraternize with them too much. Just go in and do your work like you do in a normal fight.
Yeah.
Normal fight, you're going to call your fouls, headbutt, holding. Utilize all of that while you're sparring.
Your footwork, your positioning in front of the cameras, the judges, all that type
and
of
if
stuff.
you commit a low blow, you keep punches up.
Yeah.
Everything like if it was a real fight.
Yeah.
This way, keep yourself from getting rusty.
How many, and obviously you had a 35-year career. The beginning, middle, end of the career, I mean, how many days a week would you practice? How many days a week would Joe Cortez practice?
Let me say, I have my own professional boxing ring.
Correct, yeah.
Which, in my house, in my garage. And I kept that ring there. I've had it there for 20 years. And I used to go in there and work out at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yes.
Just give myself, put on my music and move around the ring, practice my ring mechanics, everything like if it was a real fight. And I would make believe there's 2 fighters in the ring. I would just sit there by myself. But just to get myself moving, the ring mechanics, so important. Keep your reflexes going, your timing, and all that. You got to utilize all of that.
Almost equivalent to like a boxer shadow boxing, but you're doing it as a referee.
Exactly.
Now, before your big ring and you're able to do it on your own, back in New York and when you first came to Vegas, would you get out to the local gyms and practice with the boxers?
That's something that we started doing here in Vegas. But then when I realized, I said, you know what? I kind of liked it to some extent, but I don't like being around too close to managers, trainers, and all that. I said, you know what? I had the space, I had the luxury of be able to put. So I got my own ring in my house, and but if you can't do that, then you go to your local gym and work out with your professional. But you stay away from the manager and trainer. Don't get too friendly with them. You may be refereeing them in the very near future.
Correct.
So you don't want to cause yourself
conflict of interest or whatever, or someone like, oh, Joe, I got you sparring, you owe me.
Or somebody will report you to the commission. Hey, I saw this referee. He was a fraternizer with these guys, the buddies. They were hanging out there. Somebody, and today with the way things are with modern day technology, they got a camera, the phone. They start taping you, put it online, or send it to a commission. They can pull you out of a fight.
Correct.
I mean, I've seen some referees get pulled out of a fight because. Just because you took a picture. One time I took a picture with a certain fighter, and somebody reported me to the other opponent's cornerman, and I know who that person is. I've never told him anything, but he kind of tried to push me out of the picture, and they pulled me out of the fight from doing the fight.
Just for one picture.
And it was not me wanting the picture. It was a fighter said, Joe, can we take a picture? Fighter who wasn't even fighting that night. He happened to be there. He said, Joe, can we take a picture with my friend? I said, sure. And because that fighter was in a picture with me, they put it on my webmaster put it on my Facebook page, and they put on there as a friends in my friends category. And just because of that, there was somebody reported me to the commission to the other camp and say, hey, check out Joe. He's in a picture with this guy.
He's fraternizing with the other people.
And before you know it, they pulled me out of the fight. And I said, gee, that was really, it was not a setup, but it was. Because I was being nice to take a picture with a particular
being
fighter.
overly nice and all that.
Yeah, but that individual, the other person who reported me, I said, that guy, I don't say he's a snake. Man, but I mean, sometimes, You know,
I mean, come on, yeah.
People will do that, and you say to yourself, why will they?
Accidentally on purpose. Yeah,
Then
accidentally
I find
on
out
purpose.
years later that who the person was. I say, I see him on a regular basis. I say hello to him. I just like let it just.
You never even brought it back.
You never
up
brought
again.
it back.
Well, Jack Reese just got up and talked about that at the NABF convention that I just left, and he said, "You guys, look, don't be putting pictures on. It's a different time than it was in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Obviously, like you said, with camera, someone just pull out and start filming pictures, all that." He's like, don't put stuff up or be very limited on what you put up on Facebook when it. Obviously, if you go on a trip to Disney World with your family and kids, go ahead and put it up. But be careful taking pictures, like you said, with coaches and other boxers and promoters and managers and stuff like
sometimes,
that.
Sometimes you're in the ring, you raise the fighter's hands up in the and then they put their arm around you, you take a picture, the people they put it out there, and people say, hey, well, is Joe buddy with this guy? How come the fighter got his arm around Joe or whatever? Sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm buddy with anybody in particular. I mean, you can tell the guy, get your arm off from me, he will take a picture, so you let him go, but then it can come back to haunt
get you down the road.
Anyway, but we got to be so careful. But I did it for 35 years as a referee, and I had a good time refereeing. And now I'm trying to help out a young referee like yourself to come up to rank and give him some good direction and just keep him on the right track and make sure, hopefully, they can reach the goals that I reached.
Yeah, we've been very lucky and blessed here. I've been very fortunate here in Nevada to meet and hook up with and collaborate with Joe. He's been a great mentor to me and has met my family and all that. And then I have other guys too, like Tony Weeks, and we do get Kenny Bayless, Russell Morris, Celestino Ruiz.
Celestino Ruiz, all good referees that we have. I believe we have a handful of good referees here in Nevada who are very good professionals. I care for all of them. I love them all. I think I helped them out at one time or another throughout the career. And I still think that we got some of the best referees in boxing here in Nevada.
It's an all-star crew, man. That's why I can't crack the roster, man. It's hard.
They're all good referees.
They are.
You got Mike Ortega, Celestino Ruiz, Russell Morris, Kenny Bayless, Vic Draculich, and
Tony Weeks.
I mean, they're all good guys. And
Jay Nady's still doing. He's still doing the replay and all that.
Good. Yeah,
it's a who's who and Hall of Famers and potential Hall of Famers on that list. A lot of them. So it's an all-star. It's the dream team. It's an all-star squad.
I like to see them down the line all get inducted to Hall of Fame, especially the one International Hall of Fame of New York.
I've been lucky the last month or two to be able to go out to some of these professional events here. We had one a few weeks ago, the Teofimo Lopez fight at the Resort World Top Rank, and I got to watch Kenny, I got to watch Tony Weeks, I got to watch Robert Oil. We forgot to even mention Robert Oil.
Exactly.
And then we had one last week at the Westgate Hotel, and Robert Byrd was in there, and Mike Ortega was in there. And who's the other gentleman? He looks like a Latino kind of shape.
Raul Caiz.
Yeah, Raul. I've seen him a few times too. I haven't had a chance to meet him
He's
yet.
from California.
Yeah.
And he comes. I think he has a place here now.
Yeah.
And another good referee. Yeah,
his footwork was on point.
He's very professional.
Smooth.
I liked him from day one. I think he's a good referee. He has a good style. I like his style. His father is also a referee, and I believe his sister's a judge.
Yeah.
And I think another brother's a judge. They're all the whole family. They're into the sport.
Speaking of referees, guys, we had 2 weeks ago at Resort World, we had the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame inductee ceremony, and they inducted 3 classes because of COVID, and I can't go remember the whole list, but it was Andre Ward and Macho Camacho and Cotto and Julian Jackson and Fernando Vargas, the Fertitta brothers that own the station casinos in the UFC, and there were so many more I'm forgetting right now. Little Red Lopez.
Danny Little Red
Lopez. But I was able to get all the referees, not all of them, but the majority of them from the Nevada Commission. We had Joe come out, so gracious with his time. Everybody knows Joe had COVID and was battling it for 5 months in the hospital, and was pretty sick and out of it, and recovered almost 100% now.
100%. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get back in a ring.
So it was his first event. We actually got him to come back and do the amateur events because he used to come out and do our amateur events, but then we ended up getting Tony Weeks and Celestino Ruiz, and obviously Robert Byrd and Adelaide Byrd, and then we had Kenny Bayless and his wife came out. So we are able to have them come out and support the amateur community. It was a big deal, and as soon as you guys got in there, all the promoters and everybody that was running it all went and ran up and gave you the WBC medals to get you in the ring to give to the boxers.
Yeah,
so
it was an honor to present those medals to these fighters, because these young fighters, they'll always remember that day that they fought, that we presented them with the medal. Because these young kids, I remember when I was their age, coming up, 15, 16 years old, fighting in the amateurs. So it's great memories. It's a good experience. It's good to give the support to the community, especially when you got these amateur fighters coming up. We need a little bit more help from you guys out there to support the amateur programs, and something that is so important these days, with all the crimes that are being committed around the country right now. Right now, it's some of the worst times that are happening in the country right now. We have to try to get together, unite the countries, forget about the politics, and let's get together as one big family and help one another, because we need to help these young kids out there. There's too many crimes committed, too many killings out there. There's no need for that. It's worse than ever, and we have to do something about it.
Yeah, it was. It's a great experience, and whether you're in combative sports or judo, jiu-jitsu, or you got your kids in dance or any kind of athletics, football, baseball, basketball, getting them out of the house, keeping them off the, hanging out with the wrong crowd and off the streets, and keeping their time occupied. And it creates a lot of character and growth, just like it did back in my generation and just like it did back in your generation. And in boxing, we do have a lot of different programs, the Police Athletic League and different organizations to help financially kids in the community come out and being able to train. Maybe if their parents or they're a little less fortunate or whatever. We don't ever want that to be an excuse for someone not to come into the gym and train.
See, what's happening now with the pandemic, and this is something that we never experienced before with the, in our time now, with this COVID, and everybody had been locked in. You can't be going out to the street to play. So they was locked down to schools. So everybody's home. So all that depression, anxiety started building up, and these kids are start getting a little antsy. They want to do something crazy. That's why I think that's why all these crimes have gone through the roof these days, because so many things are just bad with the pandemic. And we got to try to reach out to these kids and get them back on track again, and we can making sure that they do the right thing. You have children of your own, and I'm very proud the way you and your wife have raised your daughter and your son.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job with them. And that's what I like to see about the families. The parents got to get more involved with their children and give them a little bit more attention and understanding and caring, and take them out to different locations. Don't let them be all cooped in the house on a regular basis. They have to get out and spread their wings a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously athletics and playing and getting out and getting that aggression out. Like you said, there could be some pent-up anxiety with how the world is today. You see stuff on the news all the time, obviously, all these different viruses that we got going around. And then we kind of got, I've worked for the school district for the last 7 years. I bartend at Caesars. I get the winters off, and I volunteered and actually worked at my kids' school the last 7 years. But the last 2 or 3 years, I've seen a huge change in the kids, and a lot of that was due to COVID.
Right.
Whether mom and dad had to work, and now grandma and grandpa are taking care of the kids, or an aunt or an uncle or a tia and a tio, and everybody just kind of got out of their routine, and we got to try to, now's the time to get people back into the routine. And that starts with school activities, after school programs. Obviously, we're here, we love boxing, but let's get these kids. There are different resources for you to get your kids in a lot of these different programs that are out there.
That's true. I believe that these kids have to get more involved with more activities, but the parents the parents are the role models.
Correct.
If you're doing the wrong thing as parents, the kids are going to follow. They say the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree. And it's true that your kids, if they see what you're doing, if you're doing the right thing, they're going to follow you. If you're doing the wrong thing, they're going to follow you there. They think if mom and dad are doing the wrong thing, if I do, it's okay too, This is where we have to try to straighten that out, because there's not enough, the parenting is not done correctly at home sometimes.
And that's a great subject, and that's definitely a subject for another show, because that's definitely a half-hour piece. But working for the school district, I would put my heart and soul into these kids while I had them for an hour during the day or 2 hours after school, and I would chase them, and we'd play kickball and football and soccer, and we'd have wind sprints and play all these different types of games. But if the kids that had committed parents, I could see different type of growth with them, and the kids that maybe didn't have that type of support at home, no matter what I did at school, it wasn't going to crack the egg. It wasn't going to make a significant difference, with that child, because they weren't getting the proper guidance at home. Exactly. And that's a whole long conversation right there.
That's something, an area that we have to try to develop a little bit more. I mean, like I think law enforcement individuals, they should get more involved themselves in the community so they can. A lot of young kids, they hate the policemen, you know.
Uh-huh.
And the parents are the ones that are directing these kids. Oh, watch out for the policemen. They're no good. They're going to arrest you for whatever. Teach them the right thing. Policemen are there to help you. They're out there to get you on the right track. And I think that the policemen, they should get more involved in the community, play basketball with the kids, play football, basketball, anything. The law enforcement individuals should be more involved. Maybe the community leaders should be talking to the different law enforcement departments to have a program to have these kids get more involved with you. You need a little bit more of that trusting your big brother out there, and let the policeman be like a big brother instead of they make them look like they're enemies. They're there to help you.
Well, my hair is standing up on my arms when you talk about this because yes, they do need to get involved a lot more. You know, all the county offices can get involved a lot more. But there is a beautiful thing out there, and we've talked about it many a times on your show, and I've witnessed it firsthand. Being in boxing the last 6 years is the PAL, the Police Athletic League, and it's not just boxing. And this goes all the way back to your generation back in New York. They've been around for decades and decades and decades.
That's how I started with the Police
Athletic League. Richard Steele's boxing gym is sponsored by Police Athletic League. That's on the west side of Las Vegas, over by the Texas Casino over there. On the east side of town, you have Centering Boxing, which is a nonprofit boxing gym there, and they're sponsored. But guys, it's not just boxing. They also have soccer. They also have basketball here locally. They're adding more sports as we go, and they're bringing it to more areas of town and more communities and different gyms too. So it's just not boxing. But like you said, the police officers will go. Uniformed police officers, some detectives with their little badge on their belt here, and they interact with the kids, and they get T-shirts and hoodies, and they donate equipment, and they have picnics and pizza parties, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, they have every so often they do that here in Vegas, and I like to see it around the whole country. Every state, every community should be having this type of program, because I tell you, these kids need a little bit more guidance. They got to have a little more trust in law enforcement. They got to have more respect for individuals. I mean, you can't be go out there and hit people in the street just because you want to.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have a little bit, show these kids respect. You know, yes sir, no sir. You don't see that no more.
That's the key word, is respect.
I mean, when I was
just like the song, right? Just like Aretha Franklin, right? Just like the song.
When I was a young kid coming up, I was at St. Martin's Nautical Cadets, a Navy program. I was a young kid, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, and everything was yes sir, no sir. You know, and maybe you should start a program like that again, where these kids get a military cadet type of program, showing them respect.
But you're giving them the foundation. But the point is that with that too, there's a lot of these things out there. And what I've noticed too, because I've offered free training in the boxing community, and I'm not calling anybody out here, but at the school I've offered free training, and I've actually written it down on paper and given them all the information they need and the contact number and what coach to talk to and what days to go, and it's free. And the kid runs and gives it to the parents, and the parents said, we'll talk about it, and it goes in the trash can or in the back of the car, and they never go. So, and I've actually taken the time to handwrite everything out for the parents. And the parents will come in and say, Jason, Coach Jason, what do I need to do? My kid has a lot of energy, and he's bullying a few kids around the school, or he's always getting in trouble. And I'll lay it out for them, but then they don't take the initiative to go do it themselves.
I think we got to talk to some of these politicians, even though I try to stay away from politics. But sometimes these politicians, they want you to vote for them come November, either party. But let's do something in the community. Let's help these kids out. Let's see if they can give us a little more better direction to say, okay, look at the basketball program, the football program, all activities. They should be more on a regular basis, not just once a year, but like every week we should be doing something to keep these kids active.
Maybe we can reach out. We had talked about it months ago, but maybe we could reach back out to one of the officers at the Police Athletic League and have them come on and talk.
Okay.
Exactly. Give more details on what they're about, how to give it a hold of them, where they're at, and in the process of doing that.
Right, because I know we're supposed to reach out to somebody a while back. It's my mistake of not bringing him on any sooner, but I think it's time to bring him on to now that summer is almost over. And the kids are back in school. We got to get the police to get more involved, let them get out here and explain to you exactly what they have to offer. They have a lot to offer. Police Athletic League is a great program.
You guys, real quick, not to change the subject real quick because I know the time's going down here. We have 2 amateur events coming up I wanted to promote real quick. We have one next weekend for the Mexican Independence Weekend, the Canelo Triple G Fight Week. This is an event that we've had for 6, 7, 8, 9 years now. It's called the Fan Box Expo. The Fan Box Expo, it's at the Las Vegas Convention Center. I think we're going to have about 12 or 15 amateur bouts. Doors open, I believe, at 10. The bouts start at 11. We want to get them all done so everybody can go to the Canelo Triple G fight. So that's the Fan Box Expo. It's next Saturday, I believe, the 17th. It's at the Las Vegas Convention Center. When I say Fan Box Expo, there will be former athletes, current pros, Hall of Famers, pitchers. I think Roberto Duran, is going to be there. Your guy, Roberto Duran's going to be there.
It's a must attend program. I mean, you can see all the champions there, former champions. They're there to shake hands with you, take pictures with you. I mean, it's a great experience to be involved, to see these great champions, these Hall of Famers, and plus all of the amateur kids boxing. It's a great day.
It's a great show. It's a lot of celebrities. Like I said, we got great amateur boxing. We're going to have a lot of high-level amateur boxers there competing. And remember, when you do purchase a ticket at an amateur event, that slides right across the table into the gym and into the boxing community. So we have that one on the 17th, Fan Box Expo, the Las Vegas Convention Center. Doors open at 10, bouts start at 11. And the following week, and this one's special to me, it's Fights of Fury 7, and that is at the Westgate Hotel. It's the 24th Saturday. Doors open at around 4-ish. The bouts are going to go off about 4:30 or 5. So that's September 24th. Fights of Fury 7 at the Westgate Hotel Saturday. Doors open at 4:30. Bouts start about 4:30-ish, and we're going to have about 22 bouts. I boxed on that event. I've coached on that event. I've refereed and officiated on that event. We've had guys like Nico Ali Walsh compete on that when he was an amateur.
That's Muhammad Ali's grandson.
Muhammad Ali's grandson, his parents there. We'll have some celebrities there too. Coach Ramon Montano's the promoter on that. He was a professional boxer himself. He had well over 20 pro fights, and he was a Mayweather sparring partner for many of Mayweather's, towards the end of his career, many of his fights.
Now, before we close the show, I want you to tell our viewers out there, how do somebody wants to become a judge or a referee at the amateur level, direct them, how can they get started?
Guys, we always can use help. We need people that know what they're looking at, and even if you don't know what you're looking at, we can train you. But if you go to usaboxing.org, usaboxing.org, it'll have a lot of information on what USA Boxing's about. If you're interested in becoming a coach, where you get your passbook, there's a little coach's test, and you do a background check and all that on there. And that way you can go to sanctioned USA Boxing events and corner your boxers. And then also officials, and you're not going to start just as a referee. You can start at the gloving table and as an inspector and work up to timekeeping and then judging. And then if you want to referee, you can. There's a pathway there. We call it a pathway. So then you go there, you pick out what community you're in. If you're in Nevada, LBC 49, or Southern California, or Cal Border, or Houston, and it'll have all the people that are in your community, the president, the vice president of amateur boxing in your community, the chief of officials. It should have their phone numbers on it. Get in contact with these people and let them know you're interested, and they'll walk you through the process and actually get you out to events where you can shadow and practice and see if it's for you. But we need help. We always need help. We need good people, and we'd love to have you. usaboxing.org.
It's so important that you get that information at usaboxing.org, because the officials are needed, especially in the amateurs. I mean, hopefully from there you can graduate to go to the professional rank.
That'd be awesome.
But the main thing is to get started in the ground floor level, which is the like Police Athletic League. Go to your local gyms and find out where you have the Golden Glove program. The corner men there with the trainers will let you get involved. But you can start scoring from ringside at the gyms. Same thing with like refereeing. You get in ring, referee a couple of these young kids. That's how you get a hook onto it.
You can always walk into a local gym and gather information from them. Not all of them are going to be USA Boxing gyms, but you can always go in there and pick their brain and ask them questions. And if they're not a USA Boxing gym, ask them where the nearest one is and go in there, and you'll have people walking you through the process too. Yeah. So,
well, anyway, I want to tell you, Casey, again, it's an honor to have you on the show today to talk about amateur boxing and talking about these kids. And we want you viewers out there watching, keep watching the show and subscribe to the Joe Cortez Show and on the YouTube channel and on Facebook, so we can get more. Put in your comments. We want to hear from you, see where we go from here. We keep building up and building our community and helping out our youth program. Take care. We'll catch you next week.